Now it's early July, and it's probably a late time to be talking about this, but how to keep ants out of your trail cameras. You know, going back in the day, and this is going back to, I had non-typical trail cameras back, 35 millimeter film ones. That was late 90s. Graduated to Leaf River trail cameras and digital trail cameras, and then all the way up to the Exodus trail cameras we use now. A lot of brands over the last 22 years or so. And back then we weren't putting our cameras out that much during the summertime. I have some really good mock scrape pictures back from 2004 in the UP of Michigan. That's when I started really putting trail cameras out during the summer and actively putting them on mock scrapes. Now, boy, I have a ton of content about mock scrapes, and a lot of people are putting the cameras out in the summertime. I encourage June is when we normally get them, July right around there, usually making our mock scrapes in June, refreshing them, and then putting the trail cameras out. So a lot of times you have trouble with ants, and ants can get inside and they destroy the camera. Now they're getting in with any little crack or crevice that they can get into, but a lot of times they're getting in through the mic holes. And so when they're coming through the mic holes, it's just once they get in the trail camera, and we've had this over the last several years, going back 10 to 12 years, where different brands we use, they get in there. And it was weird because, you know, some cameras don't get it, some do. A lot of times on a cherry tree, it seemed like the ants are living in the bark. That's one tree, it seems like we have a lot of ant problems, maybe not as much as some of the others. But along the way, we found some really good ways to completely combat ant problems. Number one, you can see right on here in the lid, we have a strip of duct tape. With that duct tape, it's simply covering up the mic hole. We have an attachment, various attachments right here that link to a solar panel. And if that's open just a little bit, those ants will get in there. So one way, really, the first step is always to use duct tape, cover up the mic holes. And for us and our Exodus trail cameras, that takes care of everything. And we still get that sound coming through, so not a bad idea to do that. Hey, sorry to interrupt this video, but my web class series is finally begun. How to design your whitetail property is on my website, and there's a link in the description. Please check it out. Now, secondly, you see this yellow bottle hanging right here. This is something we started doing, I think back in 2015, 16. And we have another video out about this too, but using permethrin. And this is a common tick spray, but also there's a lot of little insects that don't like it, and they even call it right here, premium insect repellent. We got this at Fleet Farm the other day, and this is awesome because they say when you spray it on your clothes or when you wash it, it'll take, what, 9, 10, 7 washes, something like that through the washing machine, and it'll still stay there. So imagine when we take this and we're actually spraying the strap right there. So when we're spraying that strap right there, and we're spraying the strap around here, and we're spraying the bark, who knows, I'm not a scientist, but if those clothes can go through the wash several times before this comes out of there for fighting against ticks, then imagine how long it stays in that bark or in that material right there. And yeah, it'll eventually get washed off in the rain, but this is a great way to keep the trail cam, or keep the ants out of your trail cams. I encourage you to not do like we've done in the past and use mosquito repellent or something and really flood this inside of this container, because what it'll do is if you get it on your readout screen, it can really damage that screen, just like the DEET and good mosquito repellent will eat your watch faces, the finish on your bow, and a lot of other things that I've destroyed throughout the years going back into the 90s. So I would encourage you not to do that. But at the same time, they have some granular ant repellent, and I believe they actually take that granule and take it back to their nest, basically, and their ant hill, and it kills other ants. But bottom line is you can take just a couple of those granules, and this is a tip from Chad Sylvester to Exodus Trail Cameras. He told me about this, where you're just taking a couple little granules, put it in there in the lid, and that takes care of it. But bottom line, whether you're using that granular, whether you're using the duct tape, whether you're using permethrin, or all three, pretty easy to combat ants. And boy, when those ants get in your camera, they release condensation. And I don't know if it's the heat of the ants or why that does that, but you can even see sometimes you'll have condensation on the inside of your screen, where you can tell once that condensation's in there, it doesn't take much to throw water or moisture on all those little electronic connections in there, and boy, they're not going to last long at that point. And so, great way. It's a common problem, and we have cameras here that I can guarantee, you know, this one we had actually in the lid right here. You can see the old remnants. So we had the duct tape here to combat it. We're having zero problems at all. But just under the latch right here, we had basically an ant nest when I came in here about a week ago, and just flipped it out, got them out of there. I did use some permethrin on there because I don't like them around there. And we have no problems. There hasn't been any back since, but they weren't getting inside the camera because we're using duct tape. And those are 3 great ways, the granular, the duct tape, or using some permethrin to make sure, and don't use mosquito repellent. Anything strong like that, it's gonna eat the finish away from your camera and everything else. So those are 3 great ways to make sure that you don't have ants in your cameras this summer. It all goes away in the fall with so many more people watching mock scrapes, getting their cameras out during the summertime to watch these beautiful animals. This is happening at a lot higher rate now, and pretty easy to make sure that it never happens again.